Greetings, salutations, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tony Torres. This is my co-host Tony Gonzalez. We're TNT Film Review. Let's get into it.
On this episode of TNT Film Review, we're going to change gears and actually get into a top 5. This episode, we will be going into the top 5 Marvel movies.
Not just the Marvel Studios. We're going all the way. Try to restrict me. That's not happening, dude. I'm going all the way back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't just do what's, out there right now. I mean, there have been some great films that Marvel in general has made, and it would be very unfair to leave any of them out. Alright, top 5 Marvel films. Now, we're going to go ahead and just set it off with number 5, working our way up to number 1. So, number 5 for me is going to be Blade with Wesley Snipes.
For me personally, it's going to have to be Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, why number 5 for you?
Well, I felt that out of all the Marvel movies, that it was really, really good, and it was like hands and feet above everything else that was on my top 5, and I just felt like I really enjoyed the movie. For someone that's not really into the comic books and all that, I was really engaged within this movie, seeing 2 different alliances just go at it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, a lot of people, they do consider that to be one of the best films. I know for me, Blade, when that came out, people have to understand, I was in high school when this film came out, okay? It shows you my age. It was the first true Marvel major, motion picture, and Wesley Snipes playing Blade it's iconic to say the least. I mean, that movie right there, I mean, you've never seen a black dude play a vampire hunter with so much, badassery going into it. I mean, it really truly is a one-of-a-kind film, especially at that time, back in, 97, 98? I mean, it blew my mind completely, as well as everybody else. I mean, it's truly really the first superhero film Marvel has put out, and honestly, they have never looked back.
And as crazy as it sounds, that was actually like my childhood. Like, I watched that movie so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool that, I mean, as violent as a theme it is, you wouldn't think that that would be a superhero movie, but really, I mean, hey, it says it right there, Marvel, Stan Lee blessed off on it, and it's really, truly one of the only Marvel films. Stan Lee does not have an appearance, in, like, he's done that later on.
Crazy appearance, you see Stan Lee walk out with the vampires.
Yeah, it's like, hey, do you need a wooden stake? I mean, you don't know what Stan Lee would have done back then, but it's cool that he does it now, but back then, Marvel probably didn't even know what they were having at that time, except knowing, hey, we are creating something special.
Now, I don't know if we mentioned it before, but we are going of our top 5 best, from our least to favorite. For me personally, these are favorites. I don't think necessarily it's best. It's my personal opinion. It's very subjective, not an objective-based view. Now, getting into it, my number 4, Black Panther. You already know. Chadwick did his thing. Jackie Robinson to T'Challa.
Yeah, to me, he is this generation's Denzel. I felt like it was very, very, unfair to say the least that he's not been getting the attention he should, be getting, playing his character so well. And Black Panther truly is one of the best Marvel Studios films, and one of the best comic book movies ever made. I mean, I've seen the movie 6 times in theater. I mean, that tells you something right there, a testament of what a truly awesome film it is. Now, for me, number 4, it's the first Avengers movie, because, it was all leading up to that. That has never been done before, ever in cinematic history, where each character pretty much had a solo film, and then leading up to that, and at the time, the biggest blockbuster, it spawned everything that we had today. I mean, 4 years from 2008's Iron Man, didn't realize it was leading up to that. Very seldom does a movie franchise really, connect the dots and gets it rolling, and it's one of the most fun movies you could watch. And truly, it didn't, nobody realizes that you're gonna get Infinity War, 6 years later. But like I said, number 4 for me, definitely First Avengers. All right, now we're hitting the halfway point at number 3. For me personally, I'm gonna go with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Yeah, well, for me, the first one is always generally the most special, because you had no idea what you were going to walk into with this movie. Even though Marvel Studios is hitting it every time they come out with a film, the movie had a talking raccoon, okay? If you don't know anything about the comic books, all right, Bradley Cooper voices, you know, Rocket, and for the average moviegoer, I can tell that they would probably think that, oh, this is going to be silly, dumb. No.
But they didn't even truly find their identity in Volume 1. I felt like in Volume 2, they knew who they were, they had it down, and that's what made Volume 2 so much better.
But with Volume 1, this is really one of the few times that a movie has a soundtrack of popular top 40 hits, and it works. It made the scenes come alive, because you have certain movies that try to do that, and it's just, you know, it just seems like it's pointless. Like, why is this song in this? It didn't help it. In fact, it really made me hate the scene even more. No, not with Guardians of the Galaxy. The soundtrack was one of the uplifting things about it, but it didn't take away from the story either.
The soundtrack is so unique to that film. It's crucial to it, honestly.
Yeah, it is crucial, but like I said, it almost didn't even need it, but at the same time, it does give it a certain spirit. But like I said, it doesn't take away from the great characters that we have. The comedy was special, and also, truly, Ronan was one of my favorite villains, okay? Because the dude was stone cold, everything, and plus, we are introduced to the first time you're hearing lines and dialogue from Josh Brolin's Thanos. I mean, that was something that everybody was kind of really, you know, looking forward to, you know, how will he be portrayed, you know, because you knew Infinity War was coming sooner or later, and that's the first time I saw that villain, and I'm like, you know what, this is going to work way better than I thought. So, at number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1.
All right, for myself, I have to give it to the Daywalker. Blade 2, though. Like, 1 was okay, it was all right, but 2, when that dude's mouth opens up and it's like 3 different things.
Yeah, the Reapers.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and let's not forget the great Guillermo del Toro directed that before he became the powerhouse, brilliant director that he is. I mean, this was his up and coming as like, you know, hey, this is what I do differently, and his creature effects and everything. I mean, on point.
Would you say that was like a launching pad for old dude who played Daryl in The Walking Dead?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with you know, Norman Reedus. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Sorry. Yeah. Norman Reedus plays Blade's sort of like a confidant in this film, but I mean, he did make his debut really with Boondock Saints, but this is the, you know, really the only time that we see him that, you know, hey, his coming out party, so to speak. And, you know, and it's such a great character that he, you know, played. And I mean, yeah, Blade 2, it really truly is a special comic book film, because Guillermo del Toro, he just, man, the emotionality I think he puts in his films too. I mean, it's really hard to try to put elements of, it seems like, horror and also comic book, but also, hey, this movie has a certain heart to it as well, and you see it when you view it, actually.
Yeah, and like I was saying with the Guardians, and how I felt like Volume 2, they had their characters down, and they knew who their identity was. I felt the same way with Blade 2. Blade 1, I felt like they were kind of testing the water, seeing what they could do, and pushing the envelope with everything. But Blade 2, they had it down. Like, Wesley Snipes was Blade. Like,
yeah.
White men can't jump. Nope, out of here.
Yep, it's definitely not Nino Brown in New Jack City, but definitely, you know, the Daywalker really, you know, comes forth. And it's usually sometimes in sequels like that, we really see the journey of a character. You know, the first movie you just see, you know, like, hey, this is his coming out party, his debut, you know, to the big dance. But really, it seems to me in a second movie, you get to see why he's so revered as a character, why he's you know, feared by all the other vampires. I mean, he truly is the boogeyman to them, and you really truly see that in Blade 2.
All right, so getting into our number 2, I have Infinity War, and if you haven't seen it, go check out our review, because if I say so myself, we did a bang-up job.
Yeah, fantastic job by my co-host right here.
Thank you. So I love the film. I thought it was really, really good. I thought it was a perfect culmination of all the different story arcs that they've been working for, and the Russo brothers just hit it out of the park, appealing to both audiences. That's a casual audience member, an intense comic book fan. I mean, they just did a terrific job, and it's monumental in a generational film. I would say so.
Yeah, it definitely is generational. I mean, you think about, like, when I saw this film, I kind of think about, like, man, this is what our parents must have been like. Well, you know, our parents, when I really say my parents, okay, because I'm 34 years old, when they saw Empire Strikes Back, in the theater. You know, it's kind of, to me, one of those game-changing kind of films. Now, number 2 for me is Captain America Winter Soldier, also done by the brilliant Russo brothers. To me, what makes it at number 2 is the fact that after Avengers, you had Iron Man 3 and you had Thor: The Dark World, and sad to say that those weren't like the best of the Marvel Studios films. It kind of felt like they didn't know where they were going. It kind of felt maybe kind of forced, and sometimes that happens within a franchise, but it was looking very bleak and desperate, and then the Russo brothers take the mantle, take the helm of the Captain America story. And the thing is with me is we have never seen Steve Rogers as he is in the comic book, and really in the comic book he's sort of always struggling to find his place in the modern world. You got to remember that he is a young man from World War II. Now he's in, you know, our present day, and he has all, you know, conflict with his old school mentality, trying to, you know, deal with how everybody else views a world that he has never been shaped into. And they really hit the mark on that. And for me, being a veteran, I liked how they expressed some things with PTSD and people kind of struggling with, you know, what do you do when the war's behind you, you know? And Steve Rogers really sort of, you know, he tries to embrace a new world that he's part of. But also the Russo brothers, they saved the Marvel Studios franchise. They really did, because with that, they were able to make it exciting again, and then able to get the audience, you know, juiced and ready for Avengers Part 2, you know, which would be coming later, you know, on in the next year.
For me personally, though, I don't mean to hate, but Captain America Winter Soldier was a little forgettable for myself. Like, I'm not a huge Captain America fan. Chris Evans is amazing, and he plays a great Captain America. Probably my least favorite out of all the storylines. Like, it's...
Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and Coase, he has his. Alright guys, now we have finally come down to number 1. This, to me, is my favorite comic book movie of all time, well, Marvel movie, so to speak, and that is going to be Infinity War. And I'm sure nobody was surprised by that. Yeah. I mean, considering our last
review. I can't even argue you on that. Like, it's a fantastic film, and it's a respectable number 1.
Yeah, Infinity War, look, I grew up reading Infinity Gauntlet, okay? I've been waiting for Infinity War to come out almost my whole life, and it finally has arrived, and it did not miss. It did not disappoint. That's why I gave it a perfect 10 for 10 on our review, because it's truly like, you know, it's a childhood book come to life on the big screen. You know, most people had Harry Potter, or Where the Wild Things Are, or even Lord of the Rings, okay? This was mine, okay? This was mine come to life, and everybody did a fantastic job with the film, and I appreciate it for what it is, and what a time to be alive. I mean, I'm so happy that it's come to pass, and it's here, and we can all celebrate and enjoy.
Yeah, I've been in your room. I've seen all the comic books, and that's like a big book about this entire, you know, gauntlet and quest. But for myself personally, has to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 2. Get it right. 2 is such a good film. It's so lighthearted. That's my alley. Like, that's the sweet spot. If you have the comedy on deck, it has all that you want in a film. It's hilarious. It's super emotional. I mean, I teared up a lot at the end.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, fantastic film. What are you doing with your life? Go watch it right now.
Yeah, and another thing too, I don't think Kurt Russell got enough credit for playing a very
ego. Yeah,
yeah,
played a great ego.
I mean, yeah, Ego is you know, sort of the, you know, antagonist of the film, but I mean, Kurt Russell is just a very, you know, celebrated actor over his, you know, career, you know, childhood actor, but man, I mean, that guy has been so consistent in his career being popular, and the fact that, you know, he comes out of nowhere to, you know, into the Marvel Universe, and man, he was fantastic. And also, one of my favorite childhood actors, Sylvester Stallone, makes his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know, being in there. And yeah, like you said, the emotionality of the film was really terrific. I'm not afraid to admit, yeah, that movie made me cry, okay? Man, you know, I'll straight up just be like, hey, look, man, a real man can admit when he's going to get teary-eyed or whatever.
Did it make you cry as much as Dear John, though?
I don't think it did, but, you know, it's truly Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is fantastic. A little high on the list for me, not to say that I didn't enjoy it. Well, that's going to be it for our top 5 on this episode of TNT Film Review. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and also check out the Instagram page, TNT Film Review, as well as our own personal Instagram accounts at the Tony Renee.
Pox.Tony.
Yeah, and also big shout out to Art by Frankie, always gracing us with the finest art in Houston, and also
the U.S. Let's get it right.
Yeah,
in the U.S.
In the U.S. Exactly. How
Last
how naive of me to say that, and also recording in the film studio of his art.
Also, amazing shout out to my special cameraman, my little brother, Jaden Cardona. Gonna have a link in the description to his YouTube channel. Go ahead and show him some love, and thank you for joining us.